I'm happy that she came in and did. I'm sure she proved a lot of people wrong that thought, what a year. I never could have imagined last bucket of my rookie season would be a three. But maybe God's saying give them a taste of what they'll be seeing more of in year two, LOL.
Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese, who has a new weekly podcast called Unapologetically Angel. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable. It's egregious. It's disgusting.
Angel Reese's rise to stardom has been anything but easy, and now, with the scandal surrounding her alleged steroid use, she finds herself at the center of a storm that could alter the trajectory of her career and the WNBA as a whole. At just 22 years old, Reese is already under the spotlight, facing intense scrutiny from all sides. The reality is, the level of criticism she's endured has been both excessive and harmful. But it's also a reminder of the immense pressure young athletes face in today's hyper-competitive world. Reese's firing from the Chicago Sky has sent shockwaves throughout the WNBA and the sports world at large. The scandal could be devastating for both her career and for the league, which has been fighting for legitimacy and growth. For years, women's basketball has worked hard to carve out a space in the broader sports landscape, and the WNBA has seen gradual success, growing viewership and increased sponsorship deals. Reese's scandal threatens to undo much of that progress, linking one of the league's most recognizable players with a reputation of cheating. The timing couldn't be worse. Stars like Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu have been bringing unprecedented mainstream attention to the WNBA, with record-breaking TV ratings and a growing fan base. The league was on the cusp of a cultural breakthrough. But now, Reese's scandal could taint that narrative at a crucial moment, when women's sports are fighting for equality and recognition in the broader sports world. This situation is bigger than just Angel Reese, it's a challenge for the entire WNBA. The league has been battling perceptions that it's less competitive or popular than men's sports. A scandal like this gives critics fuel to further undermine its progress. As women's sports are slowly gaining traction, the fallout from this scandal could set back those efforts by years. But the impact of this situation goes beyond just the league. It's a reflection of the pressures young athletes face, especially those who enter professional leagues with massive expectations. Reese was expected not only to succeed but to compete with Caitlin Clark, a player who was redefining what it means to be a star in the WNBA. The comparisons were constant, and it's clear they took a toll on Reese, both on and off the court. Her story underscores a broader issue in sports today, the crushing pressure placed on young athletes. From the moment these athletes step onto the professional stage, they're thrust into the spotlight, expected to perform at the highest level and often carry the weight of representation for their entire gender or sport. Reese, like so many young stars, was under a constant microscope. Every misstep was amplified by the media, critics, and even fans. We've seen similar struggles in other sports. Athletes like tennis star Naomi Osaka and gymnast Simone Biles have openly discussed the mental health challenges that come with the intense scrutiny. Social media has only intensified this pressure, leaving athletes with no escape from constant criticism and expectations. For Reese, the pressure was only heightened because her performance, while solid, didn't quite match the meteoric rise of Caitlin Clark. In this modern era of sports, athletes are expected to be more than just competitors. They must be media-savvy, marketable, and constantly in the public eye. When the expectations are high and the performance falls short, it can lead to desperate decisions. In Reese's case, her alleged use of performance-enhancing drugs could be seen as a result of this overwhelming pressure to measure up to a player like Clark. As this situation unfolds, it's clear that the stakes are much higher than just one player's career. The fallout will affect not only Reese but also the future of the WNBA and women's sports as a whole. Will the league be able to weather this storm, or will it set back the progress they've made in creating a more inclusive and successful sports landscape for women? Only time will tell. Promising rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has quickly turned into a tale of contrasting fortunes, further underlined by the recent scandal surrounding Reese. What was once seen as an exciting matchup between two of the brightest stars in women's basketball has now become a painful reminder of the immense pressures young athletes face in the spotlight. When both Reese and Clark entered the WNBA, expectations were sky-high. Reese, fresh off her championship victory with LSU, was touted as the next big star, someone who could carry the league forward alongside Clark. However, Clark, with her undeniable talent, record-breaking performances, and growing fan base, has risen to a level of stardom that Reese has struggled to match. As Reese's career stumbled amidst a scandal involving alleged steroid and performance-enhancing drug use, the contrast between the two players couldn't be starker. Clarke, on the other hand, has continued to dominate on the court, shattering records and becoming the face of the WNBA. The rivalry that once promised to fuel the league's rise has now become a reminder of the difficulty of living up to the hype. Reese's fall from grace has highlighted a much bigger issue in the WNBA: the pressures placed on young women athletes to succeed in an environment where every move is magnified. These expectations can sometimes lead athletes down dark paths, as in Reese's alleged use of EPO and anabolic steroids. The fact that she allegedly turned to performance enhancers to try to keep pace with the ever-increasing demand speaks volumes about the psychological toll of living up to the standards set by stars like Caitlin Clark. The use of these substances, especially EPO, which is associated more with endurance sports like cycling, shows the lengths to which athletes are willing to go to try to maintain an edge in a league where physical stamina and strength are becoming more crucial. For Reese, this desperation led to decisions that not only jeopardized her career but also brought a dark cloud over the entire league. As we look at the broader picture, the WNBA now finds itself at a crossroads. The league had been gaining ground in terms of visibility and popularity, thanks in part to stars like Clarke. But with the scandal now dominating headlines, the league must figure out how to address the fallout without derailing the progress that has been made. The issue isn't just about Reese, it's about the future of the league and the careful balance it must strike between fame, performance, and integrity. Reese's scandal also has ramifications for her coach, Teresa Weatherspoon, whose own reputation is now in jeopardy. Known for her leadership and mentorship, Weatherspoon faces questions about her role in this entire situation, whether or not she directly encouraged Reese's use of performance-enhancing drugs. Coaches are supposed to guide their players not only in the game but in their growth as individuals. The potential failure to do so here could have long-lasting consequences for Weatherspoon's career. The Chicago Sky, already struggling with a poor record, is now in crisis mode. With both Reese and Weatherspoon's departures, the team faces the daunting task of rebuilding not just its roster but its internal structure. The trust that had been built between teammates, coaches, and management has been shattered, and the franchise must now work to repair its image both in the locker room and in the public eye. In the world of professional sports, especially in a league like the WNBA, one scandal can have far-reaching consequences. The Chicago Sky's implosion serves as a cautionary tale for other teams and leagues. Even the smallest crack in the foundation can lead to an enormous fall. As the WNBA deals with the fallout, it must ensure that the actions of one player or one team do not undo the progress the league has made. For Caitlin Clark, this scandal only highlights how far apart the two players are in terms of impact and legacy. Clark continues to shine as the face of the WNBA, while Reese's alleged missteps have put her career on hold. What started as a highly anticipated rivalry now feels like a story of missed opportunities and personal struggles, a stark reminder of the pressures young athletes face when they are expected to be both exceptional on the court and flawless off it. In the end, this isn't just a story about one player's fall from grace, it's about the fragile nature of fame in the world of professional sports and the immense toll it takes on athletes, coaches, and entire organizations. For the WNBA, this is a pivotal moment in its journey, one that could determine whether the league continues to rise or whether it's forced to reckon with the consequences of one player's actions. The promising rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, which once had the potential to become one of the most iconic storylines in WNBA history, has now been overshadowed by scandal. Much like the legendary rivalries of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird or Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova, the Reese-Clark dynamic could have helped elevate women's basketball to new heights. Fans could have been drawn in by the compelling narrative of two players vying for dominance in the league. However, what should have been an exciting rivalry has instead turned into a one-sided affair. While Clark continues to rise, breaking records and solidifying her place as the face of the WNBA, Reese's career has spiraled, with the media's focus now shifting to the scandal surrounding her. Clark's dominance, paired with her clean-cut image, stands in stark contrast to the drama that has surrounded Reese. While Clark continues to break records, becoming the undeniable face of the WNBA, Reese has struggled to keep up. The constant comparisons between the two were inevitable, but rather than fueling a competitive fire, they seem to have pushed Reese toward desperate decisions. The alleged use of performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, highlights the gap between where Reese wanted to be and where she truly was in her career. The rivalry that could have been a marketing dream for the WNBA now feels like a missed opportunity. Rivalries drive viewership and create emotional investment in the sport, but with Reese's scandal derailing the narrative, the league finds itself in a difficult position. What could have been a compelling story about fierce competition has instead become a tale of a fallen star. The narrative has shifted from excitement to tragedy. While Clark thrives, the Reese-Clark rivalry will likely be remembered not for the intense battles on the court but for the scandal that ended it before it had the chance to truly begin. The psychological cost, pressure and mental health. Angel Reese's fall from grace isn't just about physical performance, it's about the immense psychological pressure that athletes face in today's sports landscape. For years, athletes have spoken out about the mental health struggles they face in an environment that demands perfection both on and off the court. For Reese, the constant media scrutiny and the weight of the comparisons to Caitlin Clark likely took a toll on her mental well-being. The rise of mental health awareness in sports has shed light on how vulnerable athletes can be, especially when placed under the microscope of public opinion. Reese's alleged decisions, while unethical, may have been driven by an overwhelming sense of inadequacy and pressure to prove herself worthy of the hype that surrounded her early in her career. The expectation for female athletes, in particular, is not only to excel in their sport but also to be symbols of empowerment and representation in a male-dominated industry. This added pressure can be overwhelming, and for some athletes, like Reese, it may lead to decisions they wouldn't have made under less stressful conditions. The mental health conversation in sports is still evolving, and Reese's story could serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of mental health support for athletes at all levels. The pressure to succeed, compounded by the intense media scrutiny and fan expectations, can push athletes into dark places. For Reese, it's possible that this pressure was a catalyst for her alleged use of PEDs. It's a stark reminder that behind every scandal, there is a human being struggling to cope with the immense demands placed upon them. Final thoughts: the long road to redemption. The Angel Reese scandal is a major setback for both the player and the WNBA. For Reese, the road to redemption will be incredibly difficult. Athletes who are caught using performance-enhancing drugs rarely recover their reputations fully, and in a league like the WNBA, which prides itself on integrity and fair play, Reese will have to work hard to regain the trust of fans, sponsors, and her